guys, it is Teenage DC Fan, back with another video. And in this video, I will be doing an episode review for Batwoman, and this episode was titled The Rabbit Hole. So this is the second episode of Batwoman, the first season, and honestly, this show was so good. I think this is probably my favorite Arrowverse show, or maybe even my favorite overall show right now. This is just so good. There's so many big moments and big things that are happening in this. So let's dive right into it. The debate over Alice's true identity is an odd and oddly large part of the second outing for the series. Because Kate is fully convinced that her sister has returned with blonde hair and some new friends, because now she's Alice. But she's having a hard time convincing everybody because, Beth is supposed to be dead. Especially her father is hard to convince because, she drops this bombshell on them during a family breakfast. And, of course, it doesn't go well because her father argues with her and is like, no, we found the bones apparently they actually found parts of Beth's skull. Now, I understand that would mean that she's dead, but, if those are actually her bones and part of her skull is missing, then, that might explain why she's so cuckoo. So Kate wants to solve the issue of Alice's identity in a simple way by, just testing the DNA that's on Alice's knife, which she stole during their fight at the end of the last week's episode. And her first stop is to meet up with Luke at Wayne Enterprises. I think that's what it's called. And, but he claims he doesn't have the expertise to run DNA. So he's not able to test the DNA. But then, Kate points this out to his father, Lucius Fox, could have done it. But then, of course, Luke is like, I'm not my father. I'm far from it. Because, that's how things work with these. They don't want to be like their father. Even though Lucius Fox is a pretty cool dude. So that was, this was actually a nice, confirmation of Luke's identity after his minimal role in last week's episode. Of course, we already knew that Lucius Fox was his father, but, it's good to know that it's, official and actually in the episode, I guess. And for those of you who don't know, in the comics, Lucius Fox is an ally of Bruce Wayne and Batman and ran Wayne Industries. He also built all the bat suits and, all the bat gear and stuff like that. But it also has me wondering, what happened to all of these people? Batman took off for some reason at, 3 years ago from the present time on the show. And, I guess that makes sense. So Batman's gone, and he's been gone for 3 years. So I suppose that makes sense, but it doesn't explain what happened to Lucius or Alfred or any of Batman's other friends and allies. Why isn't Commissioner Gordon there? Alfred's just gone. Lucius Fox is gone. Why did they disappear with Batman? And, wouldn't people start getting suspicious that Bruce Wayne and Batman disappeared at the same exact time and still have been gone the same time? Yeah. But Luke points out that Kate is no Bruce Wayne, and that she really shouldn't be running around using all this stuff without knowing, what most of it is. One of them she thought was a gas mask, but then it turned out to actually, be a scuba diving thing. And then there was another thing that she just thought was, a regular gun. Turns out it's, a full laser system that can cut through anything. So, yeah, she should know what she's dealing with. And, yeah. So, something tells me not living up to the person whose shoes you're trying to fill is going to be, the big theme for this, series. Maybe just the first season, but maybe the whole series. Because, that's what she's trying to do. She's She wants to be Batman, but she can't be Batman. That's why at some point she's going to realize that she can't be Batman. She has to be Batwoman. So back to the episode. Naturally, Kate takes the knife to her next best option, which is, of course, Sophie. But she also refuses to run the DNA in the Crow's lab. Not because she can't, but because Kate's dad would not be happy about it. So that's not good. But side note, what is Sophie's rank in this organization exactly? Like, did she spend any time in the military after the academy? She and Kate are somewhere around 27 to 29, somewhere in that age range. And if you go by the age, Kate seems to be in the flashbacks, add 15 years, and that would mean she only graduated from the academy 5 to 7 years previous. Also, how is she so close to Kate's family if their relationship was top secret the entire time? Am I thinking about this a little too much? Oh, okay, I'll stop. So, moving on, anyway, before Kate can, continue arguing with Sophie over the DNA thing, Sophie jumps right to the question, are you Batman? To which Kate obviously says no, before adding that if she were going to save Sophie as a superhero, she would have dressed as Wonder Woman, which basically confirms that Wonder Woman exists in the Arrowverse, so that's cool. So maybe we'll see Wonder Woman show up at some point. We also get a confirmation that Robin exists too, later in the episode. So this is also the first time a superhero outside of Batman has been mentioned on this series, and that isn't from the established Arrowverse. So I guess Wonder Woman exists on Earth 1. Yeah, this is Earth 1, right? Yeah, Earth 1. So if she does exist, I'm so down for an appearance or two. Or, perhaps a reference outside the one we got last season on Legends of Tomorrow, where we saw them actually go to Themyscira. I'd also love to know why this is the first time anyone is referencing the character. I mean, if she exists, then why has nobody mentioned her before? So yeah. But Kate makes some follow-up quip about how if she'd known Sophie was getting married, she would have come back sooner, not to come to the wedding, to stop it, because of course she's still in love with Sophie. Then presumably, to cut the tension, they both promptly get jumped by a bunch of Alice's rabbits. I feel like that's a weird mask to have your henchmen wear. Why would, if you have henchmen and they're doing some evil stuff, why would you have them wear rabbit masks? Like, that doesn't sound dark and menacing at all. It's like, hey, the killer rabbits. Yep. So the rabbits are trying to steal the knife from Kate, and Jacob, Kate's father, is sufficiently annoyed that they brought the rabbits right to the Crow's doorstep, while Kate is annoyed that he continues not to believe her. Admittedly, out there theory. Yeah, it's not believable from his perspective, but it's true. Kate just has to get him to, believe her. See, after all, as Jacob tells her, they never found Beth's body, but they did find skull fragments, which I mentioned earlier, which apparently means she's dead. Anyway, he's placed a shoot-to-kill order on Alice, and her being Beth would be inconvenient and emotionally difficult, something a military type like Jacob Kane does not do, except at the very end of the episode. So Jacob reveals to Kate that they found a blood trail that stopped near a location that Kate is familiar with because, surprise, it's where Mary has set up her secret clinic. Time to pay Dr. Stepsister a visit. Yep. And in addition to the dozen or so laws the clinic is breaking because it's completely illegal, Mary is also pretty lax about HIPAA. I don't know if that's what it's called for sure, but So she just shows Kate to the rabbit that showed up with a batarang sticking out of him, which of course she pockets because, I mean, it's a batarang. Why wouldn't you take it? I mean, cool souvenir. Despite her obnoxious introduction at the very beginning of the first episode, Mary is quickly becoming my favorite character, honestly. Yes, Kate is like pretty awesome, but you know, Alice, she's cool too. She has a lot of character development and she's very over the top. But Mary is something you don't really get a lot in anything set in Gotham. Like, she's actually kind. That's like the opposite of everybody living in Gotham. So this is a young woman who could, uh, some would say even should, be spending her time as the wealthy socialite she is. Instead, she's risking a lot. Her safety, her career, possible jail time, to help people who need it. Now that's the kind of person I like. That's the kind of woman I'm looking for. Yep, let's get back to the episode. I mean Mary. Like, damn, Mary. So she's also somehow still a generally happy person. I don't know how anybody would be happy in Gotham, but lucky her. Because that cannot be an easy feat in that environment. I mean, that's a terrible environment. And I'd love to spend more time with her, both on the show and off. Okay, things just started getting creepy. Also wondering when she's going to figure out who Kate is, because I'm guessing she's probably going to be one of the first people to find out that Kate is Batwoman. I don't know if they're setting it up or not, but, in the comics, she becomes a flame bird, which is like another superhero type thing, I think. But like I said, back to the show. Kate roughs the rabbit up a bit and then tells him to tell Alice waffles. Which reminds me, I'm really hungry and I love waffles. I'm actually, like, after I finish filming this video, I'm gonna go grab me some waffles. So, yeah. So waffles turns out to be a super secret sister code to Burnside Park. Kate and Beth used to get chocolate waffles and play on the swings at Burnside. So, of course, this is where Kate finds Alice, swinging away as creepily as possible, because that's what everybody in Gotham does, especially the insane people like Alice. It's here that Scarston really shows off her ability to say any and all of Alice's dialogue in a way that actually works, flipping between a semi-normal conversation and the Lewis Carroll-esque dialogue that is her overall aesthetic. Alice plays with Kate, pointing out that she might be Beth, but she also might just know a lot about Beth since her death was widely publicized. So, you know, we know that they are sisters, but it's like nobody on the show really knows other than Alice/Beth, because, like, she's playing with Kate's mind, so Kate doesn't know what's going on anymore either. And throughout all of this, it's difficult to tell whether Alice is meant to be sincerely unhinged or just playing a part to both get attention and, you know, stoke fear into the hearts of her enemies. Certainly, as Kate points out a few times throughout the episode, Alice is not a good person by any measure, but does her apparent insanity make her sympathetic? I don't know. But she flies off the handle over issues that a sane person might find trivial, such as, you know, her missing knife. But she has also proven herself to be calculating. I mean, she's pretty smart. She knows what to do to hurt her sister and her father, and she doesn't seem to care all that much whether they make their apologies. And Alice also seems to know an awful lot about the players in her long-lost sister's life, without knowing much about Kate herself, which is weird. So when Kate brushes off a text from Mary, It prompts Alice to ask if she's not in the mood for painting your nails and gossiping about boys. Like, that's exactly what she said. And that's a question that delivers a smirk from Kate, followed by the best exchange of the episode as she tells her, we really have to catch up on, we really have a lot to catch up on. And man, I love having another lesbian in the superhero club. And this is pretty cool. Like, Supergirl's on the same night, and we have Alex and Kelly on there. But now, I mean, like, the main character has that relationship going on now, so that's cool to see, getting some more diversity in here. And during that same conversation, Kate realizes that Alice was not the one who sent the rabbits to steal the knife, which means someone else is pulling some villainous strings in Gotham. I'm thinking maybe, Mad Hatter, because, Alice, Mad Hatter, connection there. Also, but we know that Thomas Elliot, aka Hush, is going to be on this season at some point. So maybe it's just him. But who knows? But the family reunion is cut short by a bunch of armed crows, including Jacob, who Kate convinces to take Alice in alive. He then orders her to be taken to Arkham, which is like the 80th mistake regarding Alice, and as she's being hauled away in GCPD van, Alice reminds Kate that she never did like to share when they were kids, and she won't be sharing her sister with another girl. So Mary is in trouble, and Kate manages to slip away, and she takes the time to change into the Batsuit, which seems like a questionable decision, as Mary knows Kate is a talented fighter. But she ends up saving her from Alice's main henchman in time to see that the same GCPD van hit by an explosive and fall off a bridge. Oh no. Dun dun dun. But unwilling to let her sister down a second time, of course, because, she almost died the first time, Kate pulls her out of the sinking van and gives Alice her rebreather, the thing that helps them breathe underwater, accidentally allowing her to escape in the process, so that's not good. But Luke finally manages to figure out some of the Batcave controls and comes to Kate's rescue, keeping her alive and her identity intact for another night, and proving he might not be a completely useless sidekick after all. But, I mean, this is only one helpful thing that he's done, so that's not enough evidence he might still be completely useless. And with Alice on the run again, it's time to regroup. So Kate visits Mary and apologizes for missing dinner and, getting her attacked. And Mary asks if Kate can tell her real sister that she isn't a threat. After all, she knows she and Kate aren't really sisters, and this relationship might also be the one in which I'm currently most invested. This is pretty cool. Like there's just so many cool elements to this show. But in flashback land, with all these flashbacks, we learn that no one actually found skull fragments 15 years ago. Jacob made it up when he realized that Kate was never going to give up looking for Beth, despite the evidence that she did not survive the accident. In a rare moment of humanity for the character, he actually breaks down crying before the young Kate discovers him, and he forces her to stop looking and accept her sister's death. And this relationship seems like it could be so interesting and so complicated, but with all of Kate's other relationships this series has to balance, Mary, Sophie, Luke, Alice / Beth, it does leave me wondering which they'll end up prioritizing in the immediate future. Like, there's got to be that one main relationship. Oh, and Alice, yeah, she knows Kate's Batwoman somehow. And that final reveal actually wasn't all too surprising, ultimately, as Sophie proved near the start of the episode that anyone sufficiently familiar with Kate's face isn't likely to be tricked by the Batsuit's cowl once they've been up close, because that happened in the first episode. Kate saved Sophie, and they were up close, and even though Kate was in the bat cowl, I mean, she could still tell that it was Kate. And then apparently the same thing happened with Alice. So yeah, and plus, who else would have saved Alice from the river? I mean, her stepmother's role, however, does lend a level of intrigue to both that character and the Kane family dynamic as a whole. Since it's only the second episode, we don't know very much about the second Mrs. Kane, who's the mother of Mary. We don't know much about her role in Gotham, but she's obviously someone of great influence. And in the comics, Catherine is a smart and tough in her own right, and even helps out in the family business. But we'll have to wait and see if this version of the character turns out to be a friend or foe. So far, looking like she's, turning out to be a foe. But next week, we're getting the official suit. That's right. She's getting the hair, the new suit with like the red bat symbol and red on the cape and stuff, and it looks really cool. So I'm excited for that. But other than that, this was a fantastic episode of Batwoman. I don't know if it was better than the first one, because the first one was pretty good. Actually, yeah, I think this was probably better than the first one, but the first one was pretty good too. I mean, this is, like I said, this is my new favorite show. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about this show so far? But thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.